my first time talking in public for a long time, so bear with me. My name is Michelle Tenaccio. I am running for school board for the Central Triad. I'm here tonight to tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm running and what I stand for. I'm not going to go as in depth, but I am always available. I have flyers in the back that you can always email me and we can have a conversation so that I can give you a little bit more information. But just to let you know, I'm new to Cheyenne. My husband and my daughter and I moved here last year. He just retired from the military. He was in the Navy for 22 years, and we've been married for 18 of those years. So we were looking for a conservative state to move to and to retire in because we plan on being here for the rest of our lives. And we wanted to make a good decision. We started looking at northern conservative areas, and Wyoming just seemed like a no-brainer. It has, well, I would say lovely weather, but we like cold weather and snow and wind and all that stuff, so we're used to it. So it has everything we wanted here in Cheyenne, so we moved here and we decided to live here. And then we kind of were surprised that it's not as red as we assumed Wyoming would be, like that residents aren't as excited about the direction that it's starting to take, that, you know, I assumed that Wyoming was just super conservative, very, you know, love of country and all, and I see that, and I'm so thankful that we're here and that we get to be in such a red and conservative state. But my 9-year-old, I have a 9-year-old daughter, and she came home from school one day just bawling her eyes out. And I was like, what is going on? And she was talking to me about being embarrassed about being white. And I was like, wait, what? I've heard about this. Like, I've heard about what's been going on in the country right now with education. I thought that I was really like involved with her schooling. I talked to her teacher a lot. She has an IEP, so I'm always talking to her principal and her teachers and her counselors. And then I was really confused. So I started looking into this, and then I was very surprised to see that Wit and Wisdom is a curriculum here. And I was like just floored because, again, it's Wyoming, and not even Colorado has CRT and Wit and Wisdom. So I started looking more into the district and into education, and I was like, wow, I really need to start like being more involved. So I saw more concerning things, and there's like 30 things that I was like, really, is this really going on? Like, I knew it was happening in the country, but I didn't realize that it was actually happening here in Wyoming, so I was like, I need to start paying attention. The biggest thing that I saw, you know, again, within the country, and it's starting to creep up here in this district, is it's not about education anymore. It's about, we're telling you what to think, and we're not teaching you critical thinking and how to think. It's just agendas and propaganda and political and social issues where education, we're like, I'm sending my child to learn how to read, write, science, you know, history, and here she's coming home talking about all these other things, and she's not, I mean, she didn't learn how to spell last year, and I was just super surprised that the focus is on social issues and mental health, which they're important, but they should not be the sole focus of it. It should be education. You should be learning everything that every generation has learned and be ready to join the community and be a good community member. And I'm not seeing that happening, so I'm a little concerned about that. So I saw that there's a huge need for a conservative, actually many conservatives running for the school board, and I was like, yeah, I'm right there with you guys, I'll help you, I'll support you, I'll go canvassing, thinking that I'll let somebody else do it, and then it's getting closer and closer, and nobody's really stepped up to run for school board, and I was like, I really, like, one day I'll do it, you know, just not now, because there's so much going on. And then I just kept hearing that things, you know, like no one's stepping up. So I started praying about it, and it was made very clear to me that I should run for school board. And so I went with, oh, okay, I'll try this out, to now like I'm all in. I'm learning as much as I can. I'm just a mom. I'm learning so much. There's so much to running for school board. It's quite overwhelming, and I could use your support and prayers. All of us can, because it's insane, especially with how things are going right now, and the board is not listening to conservative voices and the community and the parents, and we're just being ignored. So we really just need conservative voices on the board, logical voices that don't have an agenda. And actually our agenda is to educate our children for every single child, not just my child. Like, I seriously thought about homeschooling her because I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is ridiculous. And there will be a line. If it's crossed, I'm pulling her out. But I will continue to fight for all those other children. Like Susan said, there are people who just cannot put the 2 hours a day that you have to try to put so much effort. I'm literally unindoctrinating my child every weekend because she comes home with all these things in her head, and I'm like, whoa, where'd you learn that? And she's like, oh, well, I learned it during literacy and all this stuff. And so it's very frustrating, and as you can see, I'm very frustrated, and something needs to happen. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So that's why I'm running. I'd like to be a voice for the students, the parents, and teachers. I've actually made friends with quite a few teachers, and as Susan said, they're very concerned. They're like, this is not what I signed up for. I want it to be about education, but now I have to go to this training, and I have to do that and this, and it's not about education anymore. So, and then of course the community, because we're all taxpayers. But talking with them, they're just as concerned as I am, and maybe even more concerned. And we're not being heard, and the board is very liberal, and they're not listening. So I'm super excited that we're all running for school board, because I have hope that we can, I hate to say take over, but I mean, that's what we want, right? We want the board to start voting conservatively, and it's going to start. Yeah, so I have a lot of peace and hope, and I think it will happen. But kind of put in a plug, something recently that I've been really passionate about is the sexually explicit books. Susan, Lilia, and I, actually all of us, talked at the last school board meeting about it, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but right now the parents are very upset that there are dozens and dozens of pornographic, very inappropriate books in the libraries. We're very surprised about that. And we've brought it up to the board, and they haven't even really voted on it. They've just made the decision, Crespo just made the decision. She's like, oh, we're not gonna vote on this, and nothing's gonna change. Everything's gonna stay. And the parents, several times, I think this is the second or third time that we've brought it up to them at a school board meeting, and we just keep getting ignored. So right now, I don't know if you know, there's an opt-out form. They think that that's sufficient. They're saying we're gonna keep things as is. You can opt your child out of a genre or a title, but again, like, there's over 75 books, and we'd have to write a form for every single one of them. And what's wrong with the opt-out form is that my child can go into a library. Now, it's more of high school, not necessarily elementary schools, but if she was in high school, she could go into the library and browse the books and basically read a book. She just couldn't check it out with the opt-out form. Whereas we are, as parents, are asking to have an opt-in form to where the books are maybe put in a upon request section. And if the parents want their children to be looking at these sexually explicit, I have some examples back there, I'd love for everyone to go and look at them. If they want their children to look at that in a school library, then they can, or check it out, they can check it out with the opt-in form, and it's not easily accessible to any kid on the shelves browsing, looking for books, just innocently looking at brightly colored, covers or something. So, because the school board has been ignoring, they decided to not do anything about the opt-in form. They've ignored it. They said, no, we're going to stay with the opt-out form. I decided, and I hope I'm not overstepping, I'm going to start collecting signatures for people in the community who are not okay with the opt-out form and really want the opt-in form. And so I have a clipboard in the back, and if, like I said, I have examples of some books that are in the library. Again, it's just like 2 or 3 out of dozens of books. And if you'd like more information, I do have some links for you that you can even look more into depth with it. But I'm trying to get signatures because the other side is saying that majority of, I've been told this several times, that majority of people in this community in Cheyenne are okay with the opt-out form, and we don't need an opt-in form, and that we're the minority. And I'm like, that's not true. I have talked to so many parents and so many community members that are so upset that this is happening and that we're being ignored. And it doesn't make sense to me that in a very red conservative state that we would be the minority of, oh yeah, majority of Cheyenne's okay with these books being in the schools. So, like I said, I want to collect thousands and thousands of signatures. I want to show the board that we are the majority, we are not the minority, and this is not going away. Like, we're not gonna, if I have to do this until my child is out of high school, I will go to a school board every single day and I will bring it up, and I will, again, I don't want to say harass, but I will keep reminding them that this is not okay. Like, we're not gonna stand for this, and so I need your support and your voices and your help, because I need you guys to be fired up just as much as we are, because this is ridiculous and it's really frustrating, and I think most of us are over it. So I have flyers back there. If you will pick up one, if you'll sign the clipboard. I also have an electronic signature petition going out on my Facebook page, and if you could share the link with all of your friends here in town, we can get more and more signatures. I'd love to get, thousands and thousands, like I had said, and quickly, so that we can start bringing it to the board, and so that they can see that we've had enough, we're done. We want this to be about education and not about social issues. So thank you so much for your time and your support.